Yo guys, it's your boy Dylan, and today we are going to be predicting for some NFL predictions for Week 14. Can you believe it? We are already coming up on the end of the season, just a few more weeks, and we'll be already up to the end of the season. And I will be talking about my two teams that are going forward, or teams that I think are taking a couple steps backwards. So starting off with some Thursday Night Football, we have the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, unfortunately, both teams are coming off of a loss. The Steelers, unfortunately, they lost to the Arizona Cardinals, which they are like second to last place in the NFC, as to where the Patriots, they're last place in the AFC. Unfortunately, they gave up 6 points, and they still lost. They lost 6-0. So, unfortunately, I am going to be going for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this game, potentially eliminating the Patriots from playoff contention. Moving on to the Texans and Jets. The Jets, they will have Zach Wilson returning as their QB for this game, as to where the Texans, they're basically looking to reach their 8th win of the season, which, fun fact, if they can get their 8th win of the season, that's basically the last win of their 2020 season. All of their wins from the 2021 season, which was 4 again, and all their wins from, I believe, 2020 combined into one season. I could be wrong. I could be right. And I think the Texans are going to do it. They're going to reach their 8th win and potentially be 1 win away from a winning record. Wow. The last time the Texans had a winning record was when they made it to the playoffs back in 2019. Rams and Ravens. That's the next matchup we're having. The Rams, they have won so far 3 in a row. As for the Ravens, they are coming off of a bye week with a 9-3 record. And I think that the Ravens are going to pick up where they left off prior to going on that bye week. And they're going to be the first AFC team this season to reach double-digit wins. The next matchup is Panthers and Saints. Now, unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers, they were officially the first team this year to be eliminated from playoff contention. So at this point, games are most likely going to be meaningless. Oh, well, if you want a first-round draft pick. As to where the Saints, well, they still got a little bit of chance. But I think they're going to get a little bit back into the race with a win for the Saints. So Panthers, I'd probably start rooting for a number 1 pick. A first-round pick. One number 1 pick. All right, Colts and Bengals. Now, the Colts, they are a win away from doubling their win total from the 22 that they had when they were 4-12-1. As to the Bengals, they came off of a Monday night 34-31 shootout against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this is one out of the couple games that I think I have a spoiler pick. I'm going with the Bengals to win. Yeah. I am officially going with the Bengals to not really upset, but if you know what I mean, I think the Bengals are going to beat the Colts. I mean, there is a tight playoff race right now. There's plenty of teams that are still in, and we'll talk about that later. Buccaneers and Falcons. Both teams trying to fight for a first place spot. Well, one's trying to go 6-6 and the other is trying to go 7-6. I think the Falcons are going to be going 7-6 in this one. Next up, we have Jaguars and Browns. I think both teams are coming off of a loss, but Jacksonville, they are unfortunately coming off of a loss to the Bengals. But I am saying that the Jaguars will rebound against the Browns in Week 14. Moving on to the Lions and Bears. The Lions, they are officially 1 win away from potentially going double digits in wins. They haven't done that in a long time. As toward the Browns, the Bears, yeah, they got 1 more win, but, well, not 1 more win than the Lions, but, well, they just got 1 more win than what they had last year, so I'm going to go with the Lions for this game. Next up, we have Seahawks and 49ers. Now, the 49ers are actually coming off of a dominant 42-19 win over the Eagles and 4 consecutive games that they won. Almost getting a little bit concerned for a second after when they went on a 3-game losing streak, but they're able to rebound. They're 9-3. I'm thinking they're going to go 10-3 over the Seahawks. Seahawks, I think, are taking a couple steps back where I think the 49ers are taking a couple steps forwards and potentially being one of the first NFC teams, not AFC, NFC teams to punch their way to the playoffs. The next game we have is Vikings and Raiders. Both teams are coming off of back-to-back losses, I believe. So, unfortunately, that is tough for both teams. But I think the team to rebound first is probably going to be the Vikings. Next game we have is Broncos and Chargers. Who would have ever thought the Broncos would be 6-6 right now? Just like with the Vikings on the NFC side, on the AFC side, the Broncos literally went from last place 1-5 to 6-6. And they are going to be playing against a third place Chargers team, which is 5-7. I am thinking the Broncos are going to have more wins than losses after this week. I'm thinking they're going to go 7-6. This is probably one of my other bold predictions I have for this week. Next game we have is Bills and Chiefs. And the Bills, I believe, are coming off of a bye week. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 6-6 for the Bills. But the Chiefs, though, they're unfortunately coming off of a loss against the Packers, which they did lose a couple good defensive players this past Sunday. But I'm thinking it's going to be a rebound game for the Chiefs, and I think the Chiefs will rack up a win before they lose 2 games in a row. And that'll also mean that the Bills will have a losing record as well. For some Sunday night football, we have some Eagles and Cowboys again. On the Eagles side of things, they are just coming off of, again, a bad loss, 42-19. But hey, they're still 10-2. What's new there? But the Cowboys, though, they are 1 win behind the Eagles for potentially tying up for their record. I'm going to give the Cowboys a chance. I'm going to say the Cowboys are going to beat a good team. This is my last chance, literally saying the Cowboys are going to beat a good team. And if they do beat a good team, great. Maybe they can beat good teams. But if they can't beat the Eagles, I don't know what to say to you, Cowboys. I do not know what to say to you. For this week, we actually have 2 Monday night games. The first which being the Packers and Giants. Unfortunately, Giants, they're having their down year, unlike last year. But the Packers, though, this is one of the teams in the NFC postseason race that they're still in it. And I think they're going to go up in the hunt for the postseason as they will grab a win over the over the Giants. Sorry. And for the last game for week number 14, we have the Titans, the 4-8 Titans, and the 9-3 Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are probably going to be... I think they're going to be the second AFC team this week to also go double digits in the win totals, joining the Ravens, which we predicted earlier, to be a 10-3 team going into conclude after week 14. Now, here's my 4 teams, 2 of them which that are taking a couple steps forward, or a couple teams that I think are taking a couple steps backwards. For my progression of teams that are potentially going, for this one, it's a forward progression. I think I have the 49ers on here. 49ers, like I said earlier, they were coming off, at first they started their season on a 5-game winning streak. Then they went on a 3-game losing streak. Like I said, I was a little bit concerned there for a second, because, quarterbacks have to take losses. Like Brock Purdy, he has to take losses. But since then, after that 3-game losing streak, they've been back to all winning, and they are officially 9-3. And, this week, they could also be double-digit bound in wins, as I predicted. Yeah, they could be double digits in wins, and even potentially be one of the first NFC teams for this week, for NFC football, for the NFL, for them to possibly punch their way to the postseason. So they have a chance to lock up a postseason spot this week. But for my regression, my first out of the 2 teams that are taking steps back, I think it is going to be the Raiders. I thought that new coach there for a second was going to make the Raiders maybe turn things around a little bit for the Raiders, because they went from 3-5 to 5-5, but unfortunately, they took 2 more losses backwards, going to a 5-7. I don't know why I said backwards. They've lost 2 more to go 5-7, unfortunately, for the Raiders. And they're unfortunately last place in the AFC West. For my next team that has some progression is the Colts. The Colts, like I said earlier, there are plenty of teams in the AFC, like I said, that are still in that race for the postseason. This team is one of them, the Colts. If the season ended today, the Indianapolis Colts they would be in the postseason. They would actually be one of the wild cards because the division they play in, the Jacksonville Jaguars, is in that division. But they would actually be one of the wild card teams because teams that are literally, still in the hunt for the postseason, you got the Bills, Bengals, Texans, there's Broncos. So you see, there are a few teams in the AFC that are actually still in that race for the post. That's a couple select teams that I just said that are still quite in the race for the postseason. And the Colts, they're one of them. They could double their win total from last year, 4-12-1. Like I said, with the win over the Bengals, but like I said in that game, I predicted the Bengals to win, for a little spoiler alert. But, the Colts, they don't even have their starting QB, and look where they're at right now, 7-5. That's pretty decent for the Colts. I want to see them have a winning record this year. And finally, for my regression team, unfortunately, it's the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans, unfortunately, they are one of the teams that I think another loss or two is their season's going to be done and over with. Yes, I would like to say Patriots, they'll be done after this week. For playoff hopes, I think for playoffs hopes for the Titans, like I said, give it another week or two and their playoff hopes will officially come to an end. Titans, they're just not doing that good this year. So, with that'll conclude it for my week 14 picks and predictions. If you guys want to see more content like this, then smash the subscribe button and smash the like button. Comment if you want to see something else, or you can comment your predictions for week 14 of NFL football. Until then, I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.